Hello, students. Today I'm going to take up the poem Hope is the Thing with Feathers by Emily Dickinson for discussion. Students, Dickinson wrote this poem in 1862 and it is one of nearly 1800 poems that she has penned. It is one of them and it is regarded as one of her best compositions. In most of her poetry, we find a philosophical exploration of life and death. So, in like the previous poem, I could not stop for death. Here also, she has used a very figurative language, and throughout the poem, there is an extended metaphor which transforms hope into a bird. So let's have the poem. Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all. See, students, often we have heard this thing that be positive, be optimistic, never lose your heart whenever the things go adverse, when the things are adverse, when the things are not in your favor. At that time, be hopeful. So, this poem also gives the same message. Here, hope, according to the poetess, is like a bird. It's a thing with feathers. That means it's like a bird. I told you in the very beginning that throughout the poem there is the use of extended metaphor, which transforming hope into a bird. So in the very first line, she just tells the readers that hope is the thing with feathers. Hope is like a bird. And where does it reside? That perches in the soul. Hope is that bird which is ever present in the human soul and sings the tune without the words. And according to her, it is always singing. See, even if we are depressed, even if we are dejected, if we look at a bird perching on a particular tree or a branch, it gives us a peace of mind. It gives us pleasure. With maybe it may be momentary, but at least we tend to forget whatever problems we have in our lives. So that's why she has compared hope with a bird. She says that hope is like a bird, and this bird is always present in our souls, and it is always singing without the words. See, just like we can listen to the song of a bird, but most of us cannot interpret what the word is what the bird is saying. Similarly, in our soul, the bird of hope is forever singing, but most of us could not make out what it is singing, and never stops at all. And that song never stops. That means all the time we human beings have the, you can say, support of our inner soul. But the problem is, most of us do not listen to that. And sweetest in the gale is heard, and sore must be the storm that could abash the little bird that kept so many warm. She says that the bird appears to us, the song of the bird, that hope, the bird which is the hope which is in the form of bird and which is perching in our souls, its song appears to us to be the sweetest one when there is gale. That means when there is tough time. When the time gets tough, the song gets sweetest. And it is heard that time. That means when we are surrounded with so many problems, at that time it is the hope which is present in the form of a bird in our souls that gives us solace, that gives us the courage to fight the oddities of our lives. So she says that at that time, when we are facing problems, at that time, the song of the bird, which was up till now we were ignoring, it appears to us the sweetest one. And sore must be the storm, as I told you earlier, that when the problems are tough, when it is the you can say real testing time of our courage, of our patience, at that time the song of hope appears to be the sweetest one, that could abash the little bird that kept so many warm. And at that time, it is this you can say the song of that bird, which was, you can say, continuously going on even if when we had rough times. So that bird, you can say, only be abashed, it can only be stopped from singing when the storm is hellish. That means when the situations are very adverse, even then hope is difficult to disturb. He, out of negativity, the poetess wants to just bring out the positivity. She says that the storm must be very strong in order to disturb that little bird from singing, but it does not happen because the bird is so much powerful, it is full of so much courage that it cannot be disturbed easily, that kept so many warm. It is this thing, this hope, that has given us courage, that has given us a strength to face the problems of life, that has given us warmth in the cold days of problem. So it cannot be abashed, it cannot be disturbed, it cannot be perturbed easily. So here in this particular stanza, the poetess says that the bird of hope continuously sings. Whether and when the times are really difficult, when we are facing very hard times in our lives, at that time the song of that bird appears to be the sweetest one. And this little bird of hope is not, it cannot easily be disturbed, howsoever harsh the weather may be. It cannot be disturbed, it never stops singing, and this continuity of the song gives us courage, gives us a strength to face the challenge of life. I have heard it in the chilliest land and on the strangest sea, yet never in extremity it asked a crumb of me. She says, the poetess says, that she has heard the song of this bird during the hardest, coldest times, when emotions are churning and the life is surreal. That means when the things go beyond our control, even at that time, when life appears to be all disturbed. See, chilly weather is not preferred by anyone. It is not enjoyable weather. So similarly, when the life is surrounded, encumbered by so many problems, at that time it appears very hard to lead on. But at that time, even at that time, the poetess says, I have heard the song of this bird of hope. And on the strangest sea, and when one has to leave the comfort zone, one has to explore the world, probably unwillingly, one has to leave one's hometown or home place. Even at that time, it is hope that supports you, it is hope that makes your life possible when you have to leave your loved ones, your near and dear ones, and go beyond, whether to earn or whether to have any other achievement, whether to get any other achievement. Even at that time, it's hope which supports you. Yet never in extremity it asked a crumb of me. And these lines are quite philosophical. Poetess says, hope is always there. It is there when you are facing the greatest challenge of your life. It is there when you have to leave your comfort zone. It is always with us, but it never asks for anything. Hope gives us much, but it never asks for even for a crumb. That means even for a minute thing, even for you can say very negligible sort of return gift. It never asks. Hope wells up in the heart and soul, and we are the ones who are always ignoring it. So, throughout the poem, she is simply saying that hope is not something which is which comes to us from some outer body. It is always present in our souls, and when we are facing real tough times, it appears to us that its song can be heard. That means at that time, it is our you can say the strength of hoping against the odds that makes us survive. And in return of whatever that feeling of hope is doing for us, it doesn't ask anything. It is always there. It's like a gift from God. It supports us to lead our lives, but it never wants anything in return. So if we just analyze the poem, it is highly philosophical, and we can say that obviously it is quite optimistic. When we go through the poem, it gives us real strength, that perching of the bird of hope, we can feel it in our own souls. And this is what the success of the poetess lies in. It is this feeling of oneness with the poetess that we feel, and that message of hope is transferred even in our souls. That is the thing that is really great about this poem. So that's all for today.